Good morning. It is the 15th day of Bookish Advent and Vlogmas. And yesterday I finished the less than 200 pages short story reading in A Prairie Christmas. And so I pulled a new tag. And as you can see, I pulled Stealing Snow, and I thought I would just read a couple of pages in it last night and have an early night, but I ended up reading the first 10 chapters. This is gonna go fast, but it's really good. I've been off YA, starting to get back on it a little bit, but really been feeling middle grade and classics recently, last 6 months or so. I've read more widely than that, but that's what I've been feeling. And so it's kind of exciting to me to feel like I might get back into YA. I used to read a lot of YA. So while I'm talking, I'm also opening my present. My dog is getting cozy and staring at the tree like he does. Let's see what we have here. We have Necessary Risks, a novel. Oh, it won an award. So here it is. It won the Turner Tomorrow Award. It's by Janet Keller. It's a Bantam book. Bantam doesn't exist anymore. So nice. Yeah, it feels like those books that I used to buy in the 80s and 90s. Bantam was a great publishing company. I miss them. I miss their classics. I still have my Jane Eyre Bantam classic, and I've had it, I don't know, for decades. Yeah, that looks lovely. We'll see how that goes. Today I am going to participate in the book addiction book tag. I saw. She didn't originate with her, but I saw Lauren Wade do it, so I'll link her video below, and I don't know who it originated with. Hello, it is time for the book addiction tag. So the first question is, the longest amount of time you can comfortably go without picking up a book. I don't honestly know, because I always have a book with me. I always have a book with me. Even if I don't have a book with me, I have my phone with me, which has a Kindle app on it. Or I also have my Kindle, like if I'm traveling or something or moving, I have my Kindle, but I also have several books with me at all times. So I honestly don't know the longest amount of time I can comfortably go without picking up a book. I would probably, and also I'm a teacher, so during the workday, I pick up books constantly. So yeah, I have no answer for that. I can't remember the last span of time that went by that I didn't pick up a book. I don't have an answer for that. How many books do you carry on your person at any given time? Well, at least one physical book. I have my Kindle book, Kindle app, which has who knows how many books on it at all times, and then also Audible and also Overdrive, my library app. So on my person at any given time, I have hundreds of books. Do you keep every book, or are you happy to pass them on? I keep them. If there's a book that I want to pass on, I buy a new copy for whoever I want to pass it on to. I keep all my books. And then I move and then I purge. As much as I would like the answer to be different, I keep them. How long would you spend in a bookshop on a standard visit? Well, define standard, please. I can run into a bookshop with a very specific task and target in mind and go in and go out in 5 minutes. Or I can go into a bookshop for hours at a time and, not come out all day. So, especially if there's a cafe inside of it. So probably on average, at least 2 hours, probably more likely more. How much time per day do you actually spend reading? It depends on the day. At least half an hour of actual like holding a book in my hand and physically reading, and that happens before bed. But more likely, I'm more likely to read for several hours throughout the day if you calculate the times when I am listening to an audiobook, which would be while I'm cleaning, while I'm cooking, while I'm getting ready in the morning. And then during a lunch break, I'll pick up a book and read it. While I'm watching TV, I'll pick up a book and read it. Very rarely am I not reading if my eyes aren't actively engaged in something else. I'm trying not to multitask so much with the reading, but I had a goal this year to read 300 books, and I'm at 365 right now, and I'm finding it really hard to slow down. That's the most books I've ever read in a year. My goal for reading for next year is just 150 books. Cut that in half, but I'm finding it really hard to slow my reading down. So I know that might seem like a weird thing to say, and people might be throwing Rotten Tomatoes at their screens right now, but that is my goal, is to slow down and savor what I'm reading, as opposed to reading constantly. And I'm like in that groove, and it's gonna be harder than I thought it would be to put the brakes on. The next question is, where does the task pick up a book fall on your daily to-do list? I think I've kind of already answered that. I definitely read before I go to bed. And then other than that, I like read when I can and where I can, and I listen to audiobooks while I'm doing other things. I mean, there's no like, I definitely have a list of things to do each day, especially now that we're in social distancing and I'm working from home. I want to be able to make a list of things that kind of like distinguish home time from work time. But reading is just like catch as catch can. There's no like read now on my list of things to do. How many books do you think you own in total, including Kindle? I assume this also means Audible. A lot. More than I imagine. I'm gonna guess like 800 or 900. I am gonna guess like 800 or 900. I know when I moved here, I left more than 300 books behind. I know. Go back to that second question or third question. Do I keep books or pass them on? I mean, I keep them. I keep them. The thing is that I know them all though. I know what I have and what I don't have. And I know when I no longer have something. My brain definitely keeps track of it. They mean something to me. It's not like I just collect them for no good purpose. And some of the books I've had for 30, 40 years. Some of the books are older than me. Some of the books, you know, belonged to my grandmother, my dad. So, yeah, I mean, books are important to me. How often do you bring up books in a conversation? All the time. All the time. I'm that person. Like, have you read? I was just reading. And that reminds me of all the time. What is the biggest book you've read? I think that would probably be Les Mis, unless Brothers Karamazov is a little bit longer than Les Mis, but I read Les Mis a long time ago and I've only read it once. Same with Brothers Karamazov. I read that 21 years ago, and I've only read it that once, although I've read portions of both of them hundreds of times. But I think those are the two longest that I've read. Gone with the Wind. I've read Gone with the Wind. How long is that? I don't know. Those are just like the brick books that I can think of. I've read War and Peace. Is that longer than the others? I don't know, but I've read some long ones. And I'm about to read all of Dickens. I know he's not quite as long as some of those, but I've got some bricks in my future. I read the Rutherford. I've read London by Rutherford and by Edward Rutherford, and Paris, and New York. I read New York last year. Those are huge books, super thin pages. I wonder how long those are. Those, talk about bricks. Yeah, I've read lots of long books. They don't scare me. Let's see here. Is there a book you had to get your hands on against all odds? Yes, actually, early on in their career, K Tempest, when they were Kate Tempest, put out a small book. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book called Everything Speaks in Its Own Way. And it came with a CD of the spoken word versions of their poems that were in the book, as well as some others that weren't in the book. And it was the first official bound copy, printed copy of their work. And because at the time they were mainly a spoken word poet, this was, I guess it wasn't the first, it was the second, because Brave New Ancients, Brand New Ancients was out. But that was like, they were riding the kind of coattails of that international success. And although I had been aware of their work for a long time, thanks to YouTube, they hadn't really made it to the States until Brand New Ancients. And then this book was put out, and it was only in the UK. And so I had to get my hands on it at all costs, and I made an international purchase with a small independent company, and oh goodness, did that open up a whole new world of ways to give away my money to get beautiful books. Is there a book you struggled to finish because you refused to DNF? Yeah, I used to be a big can't walk away from it. The one that has like stuck with me as something that I really wish I had DNF'd but didn't is The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. I really, really struggled with that book, and yeah, I forced myself to finish it, and I wish that I had known at the time that it was okay to walk away from books. Another one is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. Just really not the book for me. But I did finish them. They're not long books. It's just more about content and writing style. Also A Farewell to Arms. I'm not a Hemingway fan. Yeah, those are the three that really kind of come to mind when I think of books that I now would allow myself to leave behind. But because they were classics, I think it was even harder for me. I felt like it was a fault of my own that these books were making me not want to finish them because they were held in high esteem, I guess. And I just don't have those kinds of thoughts anymore. I mean, if it's not a book for me, it's not a book for me. What are some of your main book goals for next year? Yeah, I have a lot of them, and I'm going to talk about them in a separate Vlogmas post next week, actually. So I'm not going to answer that question here. Have you ever had the privilege of converting someone into a reader? Well, I'm a teacher, so I don't know that I've converted anybody into a reader. I can think of a couple of high school students that I do believe became readers because of classes that they had with me. But I know that I've converted a lot of people to be readers for a time, for a season. And I have reduced people's fear and phobias and helped change people's perspective on themselves to maybe change that dialogue they have in their head of I'm not a reader or books are not for me. Especially helpful in that is when you can offer people books that they can see themselves in, these mirror type books. It's part of the reason why I am such a voracious reader, because I am always looking for books to recommend to students, both students I've had before and students I currently have. So yeah, it's definitely a joy, and it's definitely something that I hope I've done. Yeah. Describe what reading means to you in 5 words. Reading means mirrors and windows. That's 2 words. It means empathy, it means challenge, and it means escapism. So mirrors, books can reflect back to you who you are, aspects of yourself. Windows, books can reveal to you experiences outside of your own, help you see different perspectives. Empathy, books can help you understand, feel, and express empathetic feelings for other people's situations beyond your own. Not just see them as through the window, but feel for the people. Books challenge the way that you see the world, and they challenge your preconceived ideas, they challenge your limitation of knowledge, and then escapism. Books provide people with an avenue to go beyond reality where they are. In a way, I think that movies don't, because there's a lot more buy-in. It's a lot less passive than watching a movie, although a movie can also be an escape, and I love movies, I really do. I watch a lot of movies and a lot of television because they're also story, and I'm intrigued and captivated and passionate about story and the way we tell stories and why we tell stories and what stories get told again and again and again. I'm passionate about all those things. Books require work on our part that movies do not, and therefore I think that the intensity of the escape is that much greater. That is the book addiction tag, my Vlogmas edition. Stay tuned next week for a response to question number 12, which was, what are some of the book goals that I have for next year? I look forward to sharing those with you, and in the meantime, happy Vlogmas, and I will see you tomorrow.